Hey everybody, my name is Matthew Levisi. I'm a student in the MSW program at Arizona State. So this is kind of my recap of the MSW program in general, and to answer a couple questions from the final discussion. I think one thing that I took away from this program is that it's both fast-paced and can seem really slow at the same time, almost simultaneously, and holding those two things can create quite a bit of anxiety. At least it did for me. I know, when I'm writing my 13, 14-page synthesis paper, the program seems like it's never ending. But looking back on 2 years, that 2 years has gone by really, really fast, which I'm thankful for. And I worked my butt off for, so I'm grateful. And I'm grateful for myself to be able to really put my head down and get stuff done and get through the program. Another big thing that I took away from the program was, I think more so than any theory or modality that I gleaned or maybe already knew about, but learned more in depth, was just the ability to think critically in terms of the invisible societal barriers and the kind of oppressive context in which we all live, and really bringing that to light and more into focus, so that I'm able to keep that present as I'm supporting my clients either one-on-one in my micro work or in meso or macro work where I'm working with larger groups and populations. And I think that's what really makes this, or makes, I guess, the social work field and a degree in social work different than a degree in, say, counseling or a master's of arts in counseling or therapy, is kind of this degree to which we look at things in there's kind of a wider view of human suffering and what causes that suffering and how to ameliorate it. Not to say that a master's in arts in counseling isn't an awesome degree, and I know plenty of counselors who do amazing work, but I think there's a wider view of what's really happening in various groups and populations and individuals that we work with, that you kind of miss in a counseling degree, counseling just specifically. But I think the biggest thing that I'll bring to a career in social work is this empathic view of the human condition, and an ability to kind of understand how another person has built their own perspective and worldview. And it's that ability to empathize and sit in that person's seat and really be able to help them from that place rather than a place of, academic higher up, an academic higher level of thinking, really being able to humble myself to some degree and get on that person's level and see where it is they're coming from. And that worldview that person may not have that worldview that person may have may not always align with mine. But I think there's a really intrinsic value in even seeing where they're coming from, especially in today's political and social climate. A phrase that I always take away that I had heard in my undergraduate sociology program, but I heard it again here, and I think it really is something that I take to heart, is that the personal is political. And in believing that very simple, pithy statement is true, I think there's some great value that comes to that in the social work field that other helping professions don't necessarily offer. And in viewing and empathizing with someone's worldview, I think I can either challenge or support that worldview, right, in a clinical sense of what I deem appropriate going forward as I continue to build my clinical lens, and practice from a clinical perspective, and that's true. Yes, I can challenge or support that worldview, but it really comes down to empathizing with that worldview and where that worldview is coming from, rather than viewing that from an academic perspective and then acting to support that person in one way or the other. It almost becomes irrelevant to some degree. Finally, one thing I wish I had known and been aware of that in this before starting this program is that, kind of reiterating what I said earlier, that you don't have to know the ins and outs of the abundance of theories and modalities that we use in our work. Those are incredibly useful, and I will continue to build my knowledge around them. But I think the ability to just sit with someone and be in that space and hold that space and empathize with that person from where they're coming from, and be able to really understand where that person is coming from. That's, I feel, where we can really affect real change and adequately work towards that change. I can remember an assignment we had a couple classes ago we were presented with really challenging real world social work problems and scenarios. And I think I came at it from a view of, okay, what theory should I be basing my work off of, and trying to figure out what to do in this particular context. What modalities can I use to try to reach the other side and pull them closer to where I'm at, and get whatever done I think should happen in this scenario. And halfway through that project, through that assignment, I kind of scrapped what I had, and I realized really it's just the most simple, basic concept that I can come back to is that the personal is political, and really empathizing with where that person's come from and really sitting in that, and that's where I think change can come from, positive change. And we can kind of stand strong in that place in our social work careers, to be able to continue to help people in the most effective way, while also applying our clinical knowledge to the situation and the various theories and modalities that go along with that kind of guide what we do. But coming back to that really simple therapeutic alliance between a client, between a population, whatever it may be, that is where change can come from, and that's really the basis from which we can work. So I really enjoyed the program. It was challenging, but it was fast paced, but it was great, and I'm really thankful to have chosen Arizona State as the place that I obtained my MSW from. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I look forward to viewing your videos and your other visual representations of your overviews of your experience, and see how similar and dissimilar they are or were to mine. Thanks.